So Apple is actually one of the most forward-thinking companies today. They've actually done a lot of changes that impacted the entire tech industry by a lot over the years. So for example, back in 2015, Apple introduced the new 12-inch MacBook. This one actually featured a single USB-C port, and then in 2016, Apple introduced the new MacBook Pros, which featured 4 USB-C ports and nothing else, no other ports aside from a headphone jack. And speaking of the headphone jack, in 2016, Apple removed the headphone jack entirely from the iPhones with the iPhone 7, which was later adopted by many other smartphone manufacturers as well. And Apple was also one of the first companies to include a dual camera module on a smartphone, which again was adopted by pretty much everyone today. And then same applies to the iPhone 10 and the notch. Even though the Essential phone was essentially the first smartphone to come with a notch, the iPhone 10 was the one that pretty much everyone decided to copy. Not the Essential phone, which by the way did come with a significantly smaller and also a sexier notch in my opinion. But Apple has changed the industry in so many more ways. The iPhone 5S, for example, was the reason why we started seeing a fingerprint reader on pretty much any major smartphone on the market. And then Apple's iBook, their MacBook equivalent from 1999, that was the first laptop on the market to feature Wi-Fi. And then the MacBook Air was the first Ultrabook and also the first major laptop to drop the optical bay. And this is pretty much what you see today in today's Ultrabooks. Not even to mention the impact that the iPhone had, the impact that the iPods initially had, not even to mention the iPad. And also, did you know that Apple was the company that pioneered multi-touch support and capacitive touch displays that are being used in every single smartphone and touch device today? So yeah, Apple has changed the industry so many times in so many ways over the years. But interesting enough, even though Apple was one of the first manufacturers to adopt USB-C, they still haven't updated the iPhones or the iPad with USB-C support. Meaning that if, for example, you want to connect an iPhone to a new MacBook from the past 3 years, you would have to use an adapter, which is crazy, considering that if you have a Samsung phone or a Google phone, it works straight out of the box with an Apple MacBook because they do feature a USB Type-C port, which is crazy. Well, this has been quite the long intro, so get all that popcorn ready because this is going to be, well, a very interesting video. Here's everything you need to know about Apple, Lightning, and also USB Type-C. Okay, so before using Lightning, Apple was using the 30-pin dock connector for their iPhones and iPads and even the iPods back in the day. Then in 2012, Apple has switched to the Lightning port, and there's many reasons why Apple decided to switch to Lightning. So first off, it was much smaller than the 30-pin dock connector, which meant that Apple had more room inside of the devices for more components and things such as a slightly larger battery. Then two, the Lightning cable was actually the first reversible connector, meaning that you could plug it any way you wanted. Micro USB was what most other smartphones used, but that one was not reversible. And then three, the Lightning port supported many interfaces. It supported USB, HDMI, VGA, SD cards, and many more. You only had to buy the required Lightning to, I don't know, let's say USB or HDMI or SD card adapters from Apple, and you would have that functionality in your device. But having said all this, the Lightning port is still quite, well, limited. It only supports USB 2.0 speeds, by the way, at least at first. The iPad Pro 12.9 inches back in 2015, that one was updated to USB 3.0 speeds, but that was on only one device, and the cable that came inside the box, by the way, it did not support USB 3.0 speed, so you had to buy a separate cable. So yeah, I love this consistency. But then USB-C was introduced, and oh boy, it was basically a Lightning port on steroids. It was still a reversible connector, just like the Lightning port, but it supported much higher resolutions, up to 4K from 1080p initially, USB 3.1 and 3.1 Gen 2 speeds, as well as full Thunderbolt 3 speeds of up to 40 gigabits per second versus 0.28 or 280 megabits per second that Lightning with USB 2.0 supported. And then it also supported much higher power input as well as power output, so that if you have, let's say, two USB Type-C devices, you connect one to the other via the USB Type-C cable, and the one that discharged the most would be charged by the one that still has more battery left. So that's really cool, something that you can do with USB Type-C, by the way. If you have two laptops, you can charge the one that discharged from the one that has more battery with a single cable. And Apple has brought USB Type-C to the 12-inch MacBook in 2015, and then USB Type-C with full 40 gigabit per second Thunderbolt 3 support in 2016 on the new MacBook Pros, but not the iPhone. Okay, so now more than 3 years have passed, and we still do not have USB-C on the iPhones or iPads, which is crazy. Well, in case you're wondering, the reason why Apple has not yet switched to USB Type-C is money. So here's the thing, the Lightning connector is developed by Apple for Apple, and therefore Apple owns all the rights when it comes to the Lightning port. USB Type-C, on the other hand, it's a universal standard, so anyone can use it without having to pay any licensing fees. So what I'm saying is that Apple makes a ton of money by selling Lightning accessories. So just in 2012 to 2013 alone, essentially the first year that Apple introduced the Lightning port, they made over $100 million in Lightning accessories. And they've probably made a few billions since then just by licensing Lightning. So essentially, when an accessory maker wants to manufacture Lightning accessories, they have to get a license from Apple and pay Apple a percentage on each sale that they do. We don't really know the exact percentage that Apple is making, since when someone actually joins the MFI, that's the certified program, they have to sign an NDA or non-disclosure agreement, and they can actually get sued if they talk about the cost. But between 1.5 to 8% is what most reports are saying that Apple is making on every single accessory Lightning sale. And some are saying that Apple has actually dropped the fee to just $4 per connector. So even if someone makes, I don't know, a 50p cable, they still have to pay Apple $4, essentially more than the cable costs to make and sell. So they have to make it more expensive because of that, essentially. So yeah, Apple is making and still makes a ton of money from selling Lightning connectors and licensing Lightning to third-party manufacturers. By the way, did you know that even removing the headphone jack from the iPhone 7, it was a huge moneymaker for Apple? Not only did they manage to reduce the manufacturing cost a tiny bit, but more and more people started buying Lightning headphones, on which Apple is making a hefty profit on. And then take a look at how many game controllers, docks, headphones, chargers, cables, there are tons and tons of Lightning accessories that you can find online. And then even some newer cars feature a built-in Lightning port. So Apple is definitely making an even bigger profit there. So if Apple was to use USB Type-C, guess how much money they would be making on licensing? This much, 0 compared to billions. So yeah, there you go. This is why Apple has yet to switch to USB Type-C, even though for us, the consumers, it's a horrible choice. Because for example, when you go on a holiday, if you have a MacBook and let's say a Samsung Galaxy S9, you can just take one charger, which is amazing, and it works for both. And same applies to if you're using a MacBook and the Google Pixel, or pretty much every single Android smartphone that was released recently, they all feature USB Type-C. But if you have a MacBook and an iPhone or an iPad, well, you'll need to bring a USB Type-C charger for the MacBook and the separate Lightning charger for the iPhone and an iPad. So it's so bad. I mean, it's not the end of the world, obviously, but you know, it's a convenience thing to have a single charger for everything. It's literally the goal. But having USB Type-C on iOS devices isn't just for convenience purposes, by the way. By using USB Type-C, iPhones and iPads would be able to support 4K monitors, which at the moment they're limited to 1080p, USB 3.1 Gen 2 speeds, or even Thunderbolt, even though I doubt that Apple would be adding Thunderbolt 3 to the iOS devices, maybe the iPad Pro someday, maybe. One big advantage in terms of the switch to USB Type-C would actually come to the iPad. So right now there's an app called AstroPad, and you can use this to control Photoshop on your Mac. It's pretty cool. You can use the Apple Pencil to draw and sketch directly in Photoshop. This video is not sponsored by AstroPad, by the way, but the app is not perfect. Even if you use a wired connection, so Lightning, it's really slow. That's because of the USB 2.0 speeds and the fact that your iPad would need to display the image from your Mac in real time, and the connection isn't that fast. So there's still a bit of lag, a bit of a delay. By Apple using USB Type-C, they could make this basically real time, even though honestly I don't see Apple doing this, using USB Type-C and a physical cable to connect the iPad to a Mac and use it as a touchpad and a drawing tool. I don't see Apple doing that. Apple would probably use a wireless connection for this. So as soon as we get the 802.11 AD Wi-Fi, that could be an option. But yeah, having USB Type-C on the iPad, this was just one of my examples of why this could be really useful to have that on an iPad combined with a Mac. And of course that, aside from the faster transfer speeds, Apple could also release a VR headset at some point, which by having USB Type-C would allow you to use the iPhone directly for both the processing power as well as the display. I've actually done a separate video, by the way, on Apple's secret project, the eyeglasses right here. Do check it out if you're interested. It's really, really cool. And they're actually working on that, by the way. But the good news is that we've actually had some reports, including one from Digitimes Taiwan, which is one of the most trusted sources in terms of Apple leaks, that claims that Apple would be switching to full USB Type-C in 2019, and that this year in 2018, essentially, we would be getting chargers in the box with a USB Type-C port and then a USB Type-C to Lightning cable. Now, at the moment, the iPhone 8 and the iPhone 10, they do support fast charging, but you need to use a separate USB-C charger, such as a MacBook charger, as well as that Lightning to USB cable that Apple sells in order for you to get fast charging. So you need to buy two separate things separately, which is going to be about 80 pounds or so. I've actually done a separate detailed comparison on fast charging on the iPhones, so feel free to check that out if you want to know what's the best charger for each recent iPhone model. But yeah, this was a really interesting video to make. Definitely subscribe and enable notifications for more in-depth tech videos like this one. Hopefully this was interesting and in-depth. But yeah, this has been pretty much it. Don't forget about that bell, otherwise you won't be notified when a cool new video comes out. And let me know in the comments what you guys think, honestly, about this, about Apple switch to USB Type-C in 2019. Do you think it's happening? I do think so. Maybe not in 2019, but at some point, Apple will need to do this change, even though they will be losing a lot of money. But yeah, let me know in the comments what you guys think about all this. Feel free to give a like if you enjoyed it, to let me know. I'm Daniel, and I'll see you guys in my next one. Son of Tech, signing out. Cheers.